What if the fastest way to clear your home and your head is to start with the very room that terrifies you most? I know every so-called expert says start small, but here's the thing. Tackling the big scary zone first can give you the kind of relief that snowballs into every other corner of your house. And stick with me, because a little later, I'll share the one method that can flip an entire room in just 4 hours. Now, let's be honest, clutter isn't just about the piles on your counters or the closets that explode every time you open the door. It's about that sinking feeling when you can't find your favorite scarf, or when you look at a shelf full of things you never use but feel too guilty to part with. It's heavy, not just in your hands, but in your mind. And if you've been carrying decades of stuff, you know exactly what I mean. Quick pause. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I love seeing how far and wide this little community reaches. And while you're there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want more down-to-earth home tips that actually work in real life. Here's the part most people miss. Decluttering isn't really about tossing things in a donation box. It's about giving yourself breathing room, mental clarity, and more time for what matters. When you clear a surface, you're not just making space, you're lowering your stress without even realizing it. Like that junk drawer you only open during a blackout. Every time you walk by it, your brain whispers, "Deal with me." And that whisper adds up. So let's break one of the sacred decluttering rules. Forget the slow crawl of one sock drawer at a time. Try a lightning strike room refresh. You empty out everything that doesn't belong. Face the truth with 3 simple labels: love, use, or lose. Wipe every surface clean, then only put back the winners. And here's the kicker. When you step back, that dramatic before and after tells your brain, yes, change is possible. It's like giving yourself a standing ovation in your own living room. But wait, what about the emotional stuff? The boxes of birthday cards, the souvenirs, the heirlooms that feel impossible to part with? That's where the photographic memory bank saves the day. Instead of keeping every single teddy bear, ticket stub, or hand-me-down vase, you lay the item out, snap it from a few angles, and then, this is the fun part, record a 30-second voice note telling the story behind it. Suddenly, you've captured the memory without needing a whole closet to store it. And here's a little secret. Flipping through that digital album with your voice attached is actually more powerful than pulling dusty bins off a shelf. You don't sneeze your way through it, you enjoy it. Which, let's be honest, is the whole point. Of course, not everything has to go. That's where the 3-bin sentiment stash comes in. You get exactly 3 bins for your keepsakes. Not 4, not 5, 3. When they're full, it's decision time. Overflow means you're not really deciding. You're just postponing. And if you've ever told yourself, I'll sort it later, you know how that story ends. By the way, do you already do this? Limit keepsakes to just a few boxes? Or is this a new idea for you? I'm curious how many of us are secretly drowning in later bins. And don't worry, we're not done. Coming up, I'll share the one technique that not only clears your space, but also turns potential family drama into one of the best bonding moments you'll ever have. You won't want to miss that. So let's dive into one of my favorite methods because it's both practical and deeply emotional, the memory box. This isn't just about tidying up, it's about protecting what really matters while letting go of the noise around it. Here's how it works. Step 1, choose 5 items that truly capture a person, an era, or a chapter of your life. Just 5, not 20, not 55. You're forcing yourself to pick the best of the best. Step 2, once you've got those 5, photograph the next 20 most meaningful objects. You're not throwing them out of your heart. You're just giving them a new home in a digital album. And step 3, the rest gets rehomed. Gift it, donate it, recycle it, whatever it takes to let those things serve someone else instead of suffocating you. And here's the magic. When you know your treasures are safe and honored, you stop clinging to the extras out of guilt or fear. You can open that memory box and feel joy instead of dread. Because let's be honest, Digging through 30 years of souvenirs doesn't bring joy. It brings back pain in your knees and dust in your nose. Now, I promised you a game changer, and here it is. The lightning strike blitz. Forget the 15 minutes a day routine. That's like trying to bail out a sinking boat with a teacup. Instead, clear an entire room in a single afternoon. You start with what I call the exodus. Everything that doesn't belong in that space gets removed. Toss it in baskets, laundry bins, whatever you've got, but get it out. Next comes the truth sort. Label what's left with 3 sticky notes: love, use, or lose. Nothing gets a free pass. Then, before you put a single thing back, wipe down every surface. This is the part that tricks your brain. It feels like you're moving into a fresh, clean space instead of fighting with the same old mess. Finally, the victory lap. You sit back, look at your transform room, and celebrate. Yes, you have permission to make tea, take pictures, and brag to your friends. Because seeing that kind of drastic change in just hours isn't just motivating. It's proof that you can do this again and again until every corner of your home feels lighter. But here's a curveball. What if the stuff weighing you down isn't even yours? Old heirlooms, boxes your kids left behind, things you feel guilty about tossing. That's where the heritage hour comes in, and this one turns potential family tension into something surprisingly beautiful. Picture this. Instead of fighting over grandma's teacups or holding on to things nobody really wants, you make it a session. Phase 1, story share. You bring out the items and everyone tells the memory tied to it. Phase 2, family choose. Each person gets to pick the items they'll actually commit to keeping. No pressure, no guilt, just choice. In Phase 3, you document the stories. Take a photo, record a quick voice note, create a digital legacy. The result? Instead of you being the bad guy who clears everything, you're the one who sparks connection. The items find homes where they'll actually be loved, and the stories don't get lost in the shuffle. I've seen this turn what could have been arguments into real bonding moments. And if you're thinking, yeah, but my family won't cooperate, trust me, you don't need a giant gathering. Even one other person can shift the energy. Invite a sibling, a cousin, or even a close friend. Sometimes outside ears make people share stories they'd otherwise never say. By the way, if this is hitting home, give this video a quick like. It really helps more people who are feeling stuck find these ideas. And we're just warming up. Because the next trick I want to share doesn't just help with the big emotional projects. It's a simple system that keeps the chaos from sneaking back in when you least expect it. So you know that feeling when you finally cleared a space, only to walk in a week later and think, wait, how did this happen again? That's why we need systems, tiny guardrails that stop the clutter avalanche before it starts. Because if you've lived with it for years, you know it sneaks back in faster than dust on a TV screen. One of the simplest tricks is what I call the zone and label system. Instead of having a catch-all drawer or shelf, you give each area a job. A reading corner stays a reading corner, not a half office, half storage zone. A hobby shelf is only for hobby supplies, not random mail and 3 half-burned candles. Add a label, yes, even for yourself, and suddenly things stay put. You're not hunting for scissors in 5 different drawers anymore. They live in one zone, clearly marked, like a little sign that says, I belong here. And here's the thing, once your house has clear zones, you save mental energy. No more tiny decisions every day about where to shove things. That's why this works. It's not about being fancy, it's about fighting decision fatigue. Now, if you ever feel your motivation slipping, try an accountability ally. It doesn't have to be dramatic. A friend who texts, "Did you tackle that drawer yet?" is enough to keep you from abandoning ship. If you've ever joined a walking group or gym class, You know how this works. Someone else's eyes on your progress makes you show up. Decluttering is no different. And honestly, it's more fun when you can laugh together about the weird stuff you find in the back of the cupboard. But let's circle back to something bigger because I can't leave this out. Remember the Heritage Hour we talked about earlier? That little family session where everyone shares memories and chooses what to keep? There's another reason it's powerful. It hands off responsibility. Instead of you feeling like the keeper of every old letter, trophy, or teacup, you're giving those stories to the next generation. You're saying, if it matters to you, it's yours to care for. And if nobody takes it, guess what? That's your green light to let it go without guilt. Think about it. How many boxes in your basement or attic are filled with things you've been holding just in case your kids want them someday? Most of the time, they don't. They want a few meaningful pieces, not 20 bins of random relics. By having the conversation now, you free yourself and you protect them from having to make those tough decisions later. It's a gift, really. Here's another mini hook for you. Clutter is sneaky, but it's also predictable. Did you know that 80% of what you use comes from just 20% of your things? That means most of your energy is wasted managing stuff you barely touch. When you identify your vital 20%, the clothes you always wear, the tools you actually grab, the kitchen gadgets that don't collect dust, you can let go of the rest with so much less guilt. It's like finally admitting that the bread machine is more decoration than necessity. And the best part, once you've built these habits, your home starts to feel lighter all the time. You're not just chasing clutter, you're living in a space that supports you instead of drains you. Imagine walking into a room and knowing exactly what belongs there, where everything is, and that nothing is secretly judging you from a pile in the corner. That's the kind of peace we're aiming for. So here's my question for you. Have you ever tried the 80-20 approach in your home, or is this the first time you're hearing it? I'd love to know how many of you are already living with less than you think. And don't worry, I've still got a handful of quick, snackable tricks up my sleeve. Simple rules that take seconds but save hours over time. And one of them might just be the easiest way to kick guilt to the curb once and for all. All right, let's rapid fire through some of the easiest hacks, the ones you can try today without breaking a sweat. These are the little rules that add up to big relief. First up, the 1-year usage rule. If you haven't used it in the last 12 months, it's probably safe to let it go. And here's a shortcut so you don't have to rely on fuzzy memory. Check your calendar or phone photos. If you don't see yourself using that gadget, outfit, or craft supply within the past year, it's just taking up space. Then there's the joy and stress scale. This one's sneaky powerful. Hold the item and give it a number between 1 and 10. Anything below a 7, that's goodbye. And notice your gut. If your heart sinks when you touch it, it's a stress trigger, not a treasure. That sweater that makes you feel guilty every time you see it, out it goes. Not sure yet. That's where the maybe box saves the day. Toss questionable items into a box, label it with today's date, and set a revisit time. Say 30 or 60 days. If you never open it or even forget what's inside, there's your answer. Out of sight, out of your home. The key is the date label. No permanent limbo piles hanging around haunting you. And don't underestimate the keep or let go criteria. Ask yourself 3 quick questions. When did I use it last? Would I actually buy it again today? Does it add real value to my daily life? If the answer is no, then it's not really serving you anymore. One more for momentum. Start small. 1 drawer, 1 shelf. The win you get from finishing something fuels you to tackle the next. It's like clearing the table before dinner. You feel better instantly, even if the rest of the kitchen isn't spotless yet. And let me add this, decluttering doesn't have to be a lonely or heavy process. We've all had those moments of sneaking donation bags into the car so no one notices, right? You're not the only one. Sometimes laughing about it is half the therapy. Now, here's my little challenge for you. Which forbidden rule are you willing to break first? Will you start with the room that scares you most? Or will you try the 1-year test on that closet that's been nagging at you? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to hear what you're tackling. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. That way, you'll always have a fresh dose of real-world home hacks waiting for you, ones that fit into your life and actually stick. Because clearing clutter isn't about perfection. It's about freedom, peace of mind, and making room for what truly matters. So go ahead, pick one spot, grab one trick, and watch how even a small step changes the way your home feels tonight.